Good afternoon, dear students. I am Dr. A. Shankar Kumar, Assistant Professor of Public Administration, Government Degree College, Malkajgiri, Telangana State. Today's topic is President of India. So, in this chapter, the basic question is the powers and functions of President of India. So, and then uh, in the context of administration. So, uh, the role of President of India is different in the regarding the politics, and the role of uh, president in the context of administration is a little bit different. So, when we are studying the President of India's role in the administrative context, so regarding the polity, the president is the part of legislature, and then the administrative context, the president is the executive. Uh, executive. So that means the executive. That means the president. Then the council of ministers headed by the prime minister and the bureaucrats. These are the three organs. These are three parts, uh, including the executive department. So legislative, judiciary, and executive department. So in the context of public administration, as the part of executive, the role of president we will discuss in this topic. So first, the President of India, uh, in the part of introduction, a little bit qualifications, and then the oath, affirmations, and some others important factors regarding the mm, President of India. And then the most powers and functions, one is the executive powers, legislative powers, financial powers, then the military powers, diplomatic powers, and then the above are the normal powers, and then the second one is the emergency powers. So according to the Constitution of India, three emergency powers are mentioned. One is national emergency, and second one is the presidential role in the state, and third one is the financial emergency. Article 352, 356, and 360. And there will be a little bit clarification regarding the veto powers of the President of India. And next, the lowest, we will conclude part and discuss of the role of uh, President of India. So how the different presidents acted during the normal period and emergency period and appointment the President of India and taking certain decisions, putting in the packet veto, suspense veto, and other kinds of vetoes. So a little bit we will start with this introduction part, the President of India. The President is the head of the Indian state. He is the first citizen of India and acts as a symbol of unity, integrity, and solidarity of the nation. This is the symbol. And next, in the parliamentary form of government and the federal structure of India, in the parliamentary form of government, two types of heads are there. One is real head, second one is nominal head. That is de facto, that is the real head, and second one is de jure. The president belongs to the de jure powers, that is the nominal head of this of the country. This is the part, and the regarding the constitution article mention with the president in the part of uh, fifth article important from 52 552 to mostly up to uh, 78 and some 74, 78, and then the up to 1 to 23, and regarding the bills 200, some little bit variation articles also mentioned in the constitution. So uh, these are the important part of the Indian constitution mentioned regarding the powers and functions of the President of India. And next, the first point is the election of the president. what is the procedure and what are the methods of the president uh, take it. So the president is elected not directly by the people, but the members of electoral college. So this is the structure and system is electoral college. So the consisting of electoral college with the various members. First one is the elected members of both the houses of parliament. That means elected members. So there is no choice for the nominated members because all our nominated members are nominated by the President of India. So they could not participate in this presidential elections. Those they don't have a authority to cast the presidential elections. So first, the elected members of Lok Sabha and elected members of the Rajya Sabha. So first elected members, the total strength of the Lok Sabha is 545. So excluding two, one is who are nominated by the President of India belongs to the category of Anglo-Indians. And the second one is the Rajya Sabha, the strength is 250. So among the 250, 238 are elected by the representatives of the states, and then the 12 members are nominated by the President of India. So they are excluded in this part. And then there is some certain provisions. The elected members of the Legislative Assembly in the states. This is also most important factor. That means the elected MLAs of the country. So now the strength of the total MLA is 4,120. And the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha members are 772. This is the calculation. And there is a provision for the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the union territories. So the total union territories are now 9, but this only 2 legislative assemblies. One is Delhi and second one is Pondicherry. These are the legislative. These union territories have the assembly, and they are also ruled by the chief ministers. So they also participated in this electoral college process. And thus the nominated members of the both the houses of parliament and the nominated members of the state legislative assemblies and the members both elected and nominated in case of state legislative assembly. So there is no choice for the state legislative assembly of the state legislative council in case of bicameral legislature. And the nominated members of the Legislative Assembly of the Delhi and Puducherry do not participate in the election of president. So nominated members of the Legislative Assemblies of the Delhi and Puducherry do not participate in the election of the president. So these two Delhi and Puducherry assembly elected members, they cast their vote to the President of India. And next, the constitution provides that there shall be a uniformity in the scale of representation of the different states, as well as priority between the states as a whole, and the union of the elections of the president to achieve this. So the number of voters which each elected members of the legislative assembly of the each state and the parliament is entitled to cast such election shall be determined in the following. So in pointing managed, that means the equal representation for the central government and the state government. That means the 50-50 choice. So the federal structure of India is 50-50%, equal representation from the balance. That means the 50% from the state and 50% of the state governments. So the calculation is done by the providing by such a manner in the electoral college vote, and the counting counted by the MLA votes and the MP votes also. So the value of the vote of MLAs, first the total population of the state. If you can imagine any state, take a populations and then the number of MLAs. So each MLA will get a certain point of certain points, and then the into for the calculation purpose then the points symbols will be appear then into 1000. So the value of the vote of an MP also, the total value of the votes of all MLAs of all states, that means 4,120 divided by 772, the total number of elected members of parliament, not nominated members, so excluded. This is the calculations of the MLA elections and MP elections. And we have seen the depending upon the population is the taking consideration in the census of 1971. Why the government has parliament had made a act for the equal representations after the introductions of the uh, population control policies. Many states, that means the southern states, have tremendously reduced their population, but in the northern Indian states they have increasing their populations. So in the to take a balanced approach to give equal importance to the smaller states and the uh, other states also. So then the population is considering in the data of 1971. So the presidents and now can take an example the populations of the Uttar Pradesh. So Uttar Pradesh is the more highest members of uh, populations, and the members is also very high. So they will get a good percentage of votes. So first value of the MLA votes and value of the MP votes. And the president's election is held in according with the system of proportional representation by means of the single transferable vote. The vote is by secret ballot, electoral quota. So there is a quota system. Quota is nothing but 50 plus 1. So when there is a no choice for the win and win situations, in the contesting candidates, the president should get at least the 51 percentage. So without 51%, in Indian structure, the president cannot be elected. So there is a certain conditions was laid in this constitution. And then the ballots of the candidates securing the least number of first preference votes are cancelled, and the second preference votes are uh, transferred to first preference votes of the candidates. The process continued till the candidates secure the required data. So this is a kind of structure. So the candidate, the MLA or MP members, how many members are uh, contesting, and then they will give a preferenceable vote. First one, second one, as wish, as they wish. So the if the first votes are not reach up to 51%, then the transferable vote system will be followed. This is a one kind of electoral college methods was adopted by the Constitutional Assembly, and there is a certain qualifications for the presidential candidates. Person. So qualification for election as president. A person to be eligible as president should fill the following qualifications. So the first one is the common qualification. It should be a citizen of India, and the second should be regarding the age. He should have completed 35 years of age. And third point, he should be qualified for election as a member of Lok Sabha. So as a procedure, and he should not hold any office of profit under the union government or any state government or any local authority or any other public authorities. So there is a confusion little bit regarding the profit offices, but if in cases he elected, then he has to resign the if he in charges of the office of profit. So, and a sitting president or vice president of the union, the governor of any state, and a minister of the union or any state, and a minister of the union or any state is not deemed to hold any office nor profit, and hence are qualified as the presidential candidates. So, before the contesting or before after he elected, he has to resign this kind of offices also. These are the and then other conditions and clauses also there. Uh, other conditions are also there in this. One is point uh, the timely the parliament can make a act regarding the qualifications also. And then the next point is the certain conditions of the president's office, and he should not be a member of either house of parliament or a house of the state legislature. If any such person is elected as president, he is deemed to have vacated his seat in the house on the date on which he enters upon his office as president. This is also one kind of conditions of the president's office. And his point is he should not hold any other office of profit, and he is entitled without payment of rent to the use of his official residence to the Rashtrapati Bhavan. And there is although in the southern India, the Rashtrapati Bhavan is also second home in the Hyderabad also given a certain privileges to the president. And he is entitled without payment of rent to the use of official residences to the Rashtrapati Bhavan. And he is entitled to such emoluments, allowances, and privileges as may be determined by the parliament. These emoluments and allowances cannot be diminished during the term of office. Now the President of India has driving 5 lakhs, 5 lakhs rupees per month, and other facilities has given according to the Act of Parliament. These are the certain conditions simple. Now the President of India is Ramnath Kovind, is driving that much. On certain term of president's office, the president holds office for a term of 5 years from the date on which he enter into the office. So, however, he can resign from his office at any time by addressing the resignation letters to the vice president. Further, he can also be removed from the office before the completion of his term by the process of impeachment. There is a certain normally the term of the president of India is 5 years, and then usually he can be re-elected again. So in the tradition of India is only for the 2 terms only, but in the constitution doesn't specifically mention this is the terms and conditions of the presidential office. So for the impeachment of the president, impeachment is nothing but a blame to president, and the president can be removed from the office by the process of impeachment for violation of the constitution. However, the constitution does not define the meaning of the phrase violation of the constitution. So what, how and what method? And then the impeachment charges can be initiated by either House of Parliament. These charges should be signed by 1/4 member of the House that framed the charges, and a 14 days notice should be given to the president after the impeachment resolution is passed by a majority of 2/3 of the total members of that house. So it is sent to be represented at such investigation. If either houses, both houses, also sustains the charges and passes the impeachment resolution by majority 2/3, this is a condition membership, then the president stands removed from his office from the date on which the resolution is passed. So now the impeachment process was not yet started during the 70 years. So first one is the violation of the constitution condition. Second one is the 14 days notice, and the 2/3 majority should be passed either Lok Sabha and both Sabhas. This is the conditions laid by the Constitution of India, and giving a privileges to this office of the President of India. Now the vacancy in the President's office, first one is the vacancy in the President's office can occur in any the following ways. And that is on the expiry of the tenure of 5 years. One is general condition, and second one is if he wants to resign, his resignation. Third one is on his removal by the process of impeachment, and then this suddenly death, fourth causes. So otherwise, for example, when it becomes disqualified to hold office when his election is declared void. This is the 5 conditions were mentioned in this general norms in the presidential office. And next, the coming to the allowances, and then swearing oath affirmations will be done by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. If in his case he absent, then the senior Supreme Court judges will be administered the shown ceremony of the President of India. And in the President of India is the a most powerful position in the Indian Constitution. Now the discussion regarding the powers and functions of the President, and the powers and functions regarding the powers and the powers enjoyed in the functions performed by the President can be under the following. The first one is executive powers, legislative powers, then the financial powers, judicial powers, and next the diplomatic powers, military powers, emergency powers. So details regarding these powers can be examined, but in the administrative context, as a graduation levels and the graduation levels. So these are the important powers of the President of India. So first one is the executive powers. That means he is the head of the executive. So the president is the executive head, and then the all matters under the seals and under the uh, control of the president of India under the warranty and his seal. So all executive actions of the government of India are formally taken his name only. So the president of India, so we have seen a number of files with the warranty sign of the president of India. And next, the second, he can make rules specifying the manner in which the orders and other instruments made and executed in his name shall be authenticated. That is the most important one. And he can make rules for more convenient transactions or business of the union government and for allocation of the said business among the ministers. That means he is appointed uh, president. President appoints the prime minister, and then with the help of the prime aid and advice of the prime minister, and the constitution providing the 74 and 75th constitutional amendment constitutional articles to appoint a council of ministers also. And then the prime ministers and other ministers, they hold office during the pleasure of the president. The pleasure of the president is the important factors, irrespective of their uh, terms and qualifications also. And next point is the president of India appoints the attorney general of India and determines his remuneration. All attorney general of India hold office during the pleasure of the president of India. This is also conditions. And he appoints Controller and Director General of India, Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners, the chairman and members of the UPS, Union Public Service Commission, and the governor of states, lieutenant governors, and the chairman and the members of the finance commissions and SC commission, ST commissions, BC commission, Right to Information Commission, and all other constitutional and parliament through parliament executive resolution passed to make a office. These office chairmen and members are appointed by the president of India, and he can seek any information relating to the commission administration of affairs of the union and the proposals for legislation from the prime minister. This is also so prime minister and president is the most important relation should be mentioned in this context. So any information related to the whatever the cabinet resolutions and cabinet decision makings will be informed through the prime minister to the president of India. It's a mandatory. So the executive powers specifically in the constitution mention the 53. So all executive powers will be uh, will be performed by the President of India through with uh, uh, appointments of the various posters. So the Constitution specifically focuses the 53 article. And then the most important another factor is the President is also part in the legislature. So he can summon and in the prorate, the Parliament dissolve the Lok Sabha. The Rajya Sabha is the permanent Sabha. That's why the dissolution authority to the president's only Lok Sabha. And he can also summon a joint sitting of both the houses of parliament, which is presided over by the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. There is a clause in the Article 105 in class 3. If bill is passed in one Sabha and the another Sabha is the opposing that, then the president can issue the order to make a joint parliament session. So joint parliament cities will be also administered by the president, but the chairman is the speaker only, Lok Sabha. And then the president can address the parliament at the commencement of the first session after each general election and also the first session of each year. So normally 5 years plus 6 times the president can address. And then the president can propose the address of the prepared by the government only. And then he can send a message to the House of Parliament, whether respect to bill pending in the Parliament and otherwise. any specific occasions, specific cases, then the president can send the messages. And he can appoint any member of Lok Sabha to preside over its proceedings when officers of both the speaker and deputy speaker are vacant. So then the pro tem speaker will be in charge. So this is also administered by the President of India. Similarly, he can also appoint any member of the Rajya Sabha to preside over the proceeding when the officials of both the chairman and deputy chairman of the both the houses vacant in the position, then the pro tem speaker will be for the Lok Sabha and another member can be appointed to the Rajya Sabha also. Up to they will act up to elected new chairman and new speaker also. Next point is the he can appoint any member of the Lok Sabha president. This is a proceeding. And the most one important is the he nominates 12 members of the Rajya Sabha from amongst persons having special knowledge, practical experience, literature, science, arts, social services, and in different fields. And he can nominate two members to the Lok Sabha from the Anglo-Indian community. So once upon the time, the British ruled the Indian government and they don't have a representation. Now they are minority in position. Their representation cannot be represented in this Lok Sabha also. So the nomination has given this constitution also. And the president decides and questions as to disqualification of members of the parliament in consultation with the election commission. There is a lot of difference between the different opinion and the disqualifications of members of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabhas. So the election commission and the president is left over to the government. This is the one kind of legislative powers. So regarding the bills is the most important factor. Article 1, 2, 3 regarding the ordinance. So when the parliament sessions are not in a uh, uh, session, and then the president can issue a ordinance in the during the emergency periods. If the ordinance passes, then the after the 1.5 months, then the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha passes the ordinance, then it becomes a act. This is the power also Constitution has given Article 1 to 3. Now the another power is financial powers. Uh, that is the important financial is nothing but the without approval of the parliament, the government cannot expenditure even a single rupee also. So every approval of the parliament is a must to run the government. So in this connection, the financial powers, the money bill can be introduced in the parliament only with these prior recommendations. Either money bill or general bill is deciding power is lies with the speaker. But the when the introduction to the Lok Sabha, so money bill actually introduced only Lok Sabha, not in the Rajya Sabha. So either money bill or general bill is deciding power with the Lok Sabha speaker only. But the money bills can be introduced in the parliament only prior recommendations. So the money bills cannot be reconsidered after the time. And next, he causes to be laid before the parliament the annual statements, nothing but the union budget, not the state budget. In case of emergency period, it will be the state budgets also. But the Article 112 mentioned in the annual financial statement. Annual financial statement is nothing but expected revenue and expected expenditure. This is the statement. So the president has the authority to issue this. And next point is the no demand for a grant can be made except his recommendations. This is also appropriation bills 114 and um, uh, then the grants 275A articles. These are the coming under the financial powers. And he can make an advance out of the contingency fund of India to meet any unforeseen expenditure. Unforeseen expenditure like earthquake, rainfall, then the terrorism attacks and some others, drought, any unforeseen and unexpected situation like a COVID now also. So this is kind of situation. Then the regular expenditures occurred by the Consolidated Fund of India, Article 266, and there is another financial resources for the government of India is Contingency Fund of India, Article 267. But the Contingency Fund of the India is the lies with the uh, President of India. So the President has the power, and then the financial powers, and then the President also issue the orders, and he appoints every 5 years the Finance Commission. Finance Commission is the net shareable taxes collected by the central government and allocation of state share. So Article 280 specifically focus a constitutional body for the uh, uh, Finance Commission. So Finance Commission, uh, every 5 years the President has the authority to take a constitute the commission. And now the point is the judicial powers. Judicial powers, that is mean the Supreme Court, and the judges and Chief Justice of the Supreme Courts are appointed by the President of India by the collegium system, aid and advice of the Prime Minister of India. So under the judicial powers, President appoints the Chief Justice and the judges of Supreme Court and High Courts also. The most important, and he can seek advice from Supreme Court on any question of law or fact. However, the advice rendered by the Supreme Court is not binding on the President. It is only advisory nature, not is a binding nature on the President of India. And then the President can grant pardon, reprieve, respite, remission of punishment, suspend, remit, commute the sentence of any person convicted of any offences. So in all cases where the punishment and sentences by a court is martial court, that is the military court, in all cases where the punishments or sentences for offences against a union law, and in case where the sentence is a sentence of death, these are the three classes mentioned in this uh, in the practices. So the President has the power to grant the pardon or respite. So certain judicial powers has been exercised by the President of India. And next, the power is the military powers. Military powers, there are three kinds of military powers. One is the naval, defense, and the third one is the civil. So these are the three types of military headed are appointed by the Prime Minister of India. President of India is the aid and advice of the Prime Minister. So, sorry, the President is the Supreme Commander of the Defense Forces of India. In that fact, he appoints the chiefs of the Army, Navy, Air Force. So, land, Navy, Air Force. Practically, he can declare a war, conclude peace, subject to the approval of the Parliament. This is also, and we have seen a number of times with the wars. 1962, India and China. 1965, India and Pakistan. Next, 1971, India and the Bangladesh. These are the wars declared by the President of India. So this kind of historical backgrounds we have seen that. And next, the others emergency powers. These are the extraordinary powers. And then in addition to the normal powers, mentioned the Constitution confers extraordinary powers. They are President to deal with the following three types. One is national emergency, Article 352. And then the President's rule, Article 356 and 365. And the financial emergency 360. So during this national emergency, when one is the causes, external causes, and second one is internal causes. So external causes means wars with country to country, and the internal causes, that is means the disturbance of the internal factors, armed rebellions or something maybe. And now we have seen that maybe 3 times for the external causes and 1 time for the internal causes, the Article 352 imposes. When the Article 352 imposes, the normal government business will not be run, and the whole powers captured only by the President of India. And then the complete real government is not there. So the total powers is captured by the President of India. It's like a presidential form of government. And then the Article 356, that means the state governments are not in a position to form. That means lack of majority. And second, Article 365 says that the state governments are not binding or not obeying the rules and regulations framed by the central government. Then central government, without showing the reasons, and then the central government can impose the Article 356. We have seen number of times, nearly 130 times that 356 article was imposed during this India. And most of the Punjab and Kerala, some other states imposed n number of times these articles. And normally the article when occurred, in Telangana 2 times also. So when 356 article imposes by government of India, and the normal government, state government will not be functions. So the power is captured by the President of India, and the President of India can give or assign the duties and authorities to the governor. So the political regime is over, and the caretaker CM will be appointed by the governor. So this is the norms and traditions was imposed in the uh, there is a certain clarification in the constitution. There is a left to the parliament. So, a number of times the imposition, violation of the Article 356, and number of cases argued in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court rejected, sometimes supported. So, very, very destructive article in this Constitution of India is 356. Next, third one is the financial emergency. Nothing but the government is not in a position to collect and to run the government normal businesses. And when there is a critical financial crisis, then the president can declare with the aid and advice of the president of India in the financial emergency. During these 75 years, Indian constitutions, 360 article was not imposed. So there is not a applicable, not applied since 70 years of the Indian Constitution. These are the powers of the President of India. And in details, we will discuss the imposition, causes, scene, and the impacts for various different depending upon the situation. And some that is the veto power of the president is the what is the meaning of veto? Veto is the nothing but a rejecting power. That is the president. He has an absolute veto. So a bill is passed by the parliament can become an act only if it receives the assent of the president. This is the important because of president is the internal part of the legislature. So Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha plus president. These three organs are combined with the legislatures. So when such a bill is presented to the president for his assent, he has a three alternatives under the Article 11111 of the Constitution. First one is he may give his assent to the bill. First. Second one, he may withhold his assent to the bill. Right? Third one, he may return the bill. Only general bill he has the authority to return. In case of money bill, he doesn't have the power to rescind. Why? Because the money bill is into prior approval by the president. This is the case. So the recommendation of the president, however, if the bill is passed again by the parliament with or without amendments, and again president to the president must give his assent. So only one choice. So second choice is not there. The second choice is left to the only for the ruling government. The president must give his assent to the bill. So the veto power enjoyed by the executives in modern states can be classified into the following four types. One is the absolute veto, that is withholding a assent to the bill passed by the legislatures. So there is no date and something, right? So absolute veto, that is rejecting. Second one, qualified veto. That means which can be overridden by the legislature with a higher majority. So the president is not giving assent, and the bill is rescinded, and the government overridden this with the majority of 2/3. This is also one kind of nature is mentioned. And third is the suspense veto. What is the meaning of suspense? Which can be overridden by the legislature with an ordinary majority. That is a qualified veto required special majority. And the suspense veto is ordinary veto. Ordinary majority means nothing but 50 plus 1. So then the pocket veto. Fourth one is the pocket veto. That is taking no action and the bill passed by the legislation. That means keep quiet, putting in the jail. These are the four types of vetoes. Absolute veto, that is the rejecting power. Qualified veto by special majority. Suspense veto is simple majority. Suspend majority. And fourth is the packet veto, means putting in the packet. This is the four types of vetoes are mentioned in the constitution. And the pardoning powers of the president can be analyzed for the five. So Indian constitution mentioned 72 of the constitution. This is the most important article, the president to grant pardon to persons who have been tried and convicted of any offense in all cases where the punishment or sentence is for offense against Indian law. One condition, punishment or sentence is by martial law, that is military code. Third is sentence of death sentence. Three cases. So first one is pardon. Pardon, what is the pardon? Meaning it removes both the sentence and conviction, completely absolve the convict from all sentences, free from punishment, disqualification. That is in case Mafi, all. This is the pardon. And second one is commutation. Commutation is it denotes the substitution of one form of punishment for a lighter form. That means the reduction of the punishment. That is commutation means a little bit commit means reduce the power. And for example, a death sentence may be commuted to rigorous imprisonment, which in turn may be commuted to the a simple imprisonment. So imprisonment is have seen that. Then the third, remission. What is the meaning of remission? It implies reducing the period of sentence without changing its character. So this is also remission implies reducing the period of sentence with changing its character. Example, a sentence of rigorous imprisonment for 1 year. That is, for example, time. Time meaning is remission. And respite. What is the meaning of respite? It denotes awarding a lesser sentence in place of one originally awarded due to some special facts such as physical disability of a convict or the pregnancy of a woman in an offender. It is the case of scene where then the reprieve. Reprieve is it implies a stay of the execution of a sentence, especially that of death, for a temporary period. That means the postponement of the imprisonment. Its purpose is to enable the convict to have time to seek for pardon or commutation from the president. So pardon is 100% fulfilled overall, and the commutation is a little bit lesser, and the remission is reducing the time, and the respiting is nothing but a originally special facts such as physical disability convert the pregnancy in case of special cases, and then the reprieve is the nothing but the stay. So these are the five types of pardoning powers under the Indian Constitution of 72 article. And the role of the president can be discussed in 70 years of the Indian constitutions. So many presidents of India played a greater role and to protect of the constitution of India. And some of the presidents who ruled with a dignified decisions. And when the Abdul Kalam, the president of India, uh, has played a greater role, and then he rejected the unwanted bills proposed by the government also. And R.K. Narayana is also wrote the cane of the peacock. That is the like a dove. So that is the role of the president is a nominal, and the only is a, like a rubber stamp. So, but in general cases, the full majority government, the president is role is very limited. And in case of the president's, the government has not getting more majorities, and the coalition government, the president's power is very strong. So we have seen in number of cases, and when they are giving assents and bills, everything by the president of India. So in certain cases, we have seen that, and the presidents played a greater roles to protect of the country and protection of the constitution. And the hack decision proposed by the Council of Ministers also. And there is a checks and balance system between the government and the President of India also. So the the V.V. Giri and then the others are selected and elected by the various parties and have taken a great decisions. But in the Indian Constitution has given a uh, greater privileges to the President of India post, providing the when the nomination when the nomination the 50 members is required to support, and then the another 50 members. That means 100 members is needed for the signature is needed for the contesting of province. These are the system we have seen that this is the main thing. And then the other classes and other systems were imposed by the President of India during their periods. And then uh, the other cases, various the president has taken a great. R.K. Narayan played a very greater role, and he in his autobiography he specifically focused the role of the President of India.